Okay. Hi, my name is Seneca. Welcome to my casual YouTube channel. This is where I talk anything casual or monumental, something casual that I'm watching a lot, that I'd like to make recaps, that I'm going to make recaps on from now on, is Married at First Sight, season 17, episode, is this 11, I guess? It's hard because I'm on Prime and it just gives, like, episode 1 through, like, we're at 24 now. So it's like, is it 11? I guess it's 11. I just looked at another YouTuber and they said it was 11, so I'm just like, okay, it's 11, it's not 23. Okay, so just for background, I made an episode recapping all of my thoughts thus far on Married at First Sight. If you're confused as to like how I feel about everybody, it's all in the last Married at First Sight episode that I recapped. Maybe I'll make a playlist of all the Married at First Sight thoughts that I have, so you don't have to like dig for it, because I do post a lot. I am going to be kind of not necessarily summarizing I'm going to be talking about the standout moments of the things that stood out to me, the conversations, the ideas, the people, the things that I think, not necessarily going by, I have notes for scene by scene, but I'm not going to be saying, so we see Brennan and blah, blah, blah at this table at the dinner and they're talking about this and we see that it could... I just write notes about anything that stands out to me. Sometimes it's in like chronological order and it makes sense in the way that other people recap shows. But for the most part, this is a casual YouTube channel. I'm not a professional. I don't be doing this. I just decided to do it and I don't go by a specific structure. So if you're like, what the heck is she? It's just because I'm going by the notes that I took and what stood out to me. Okay, so we're gonna go by couple by couple. Well, not couple by couple. We're going to be going by what the show has shown us through scene by scene, couple by couple, kind of. Okay, so we have... This is so uncomfortable. This episode was so uncomfortable. Let me just say that first and foremost. Most of the conversations were very hard to watch. And I hate when we get to that point in the season because it makes me discouraged and I don't feel like finishing it. There have been a couple seasons where I just have simply not finished it. Because it's when you can't root for anybody. And you know what? I don't have to root for people to be entertained. I really don't. But like when it comes to being emotionally invested in a marriage, as opposed to some people who are like dating and they're messy and they're young and they're silly and stupid, it's a lot easier to be like, I don't have to root for you, whatever, it's fine. But like when it's like a marriage, and I'm also married, so I feel like a lot of the things that I see and can identify with really take things out of me, because I'm like, not me actually feeling for this thing because I've gone through it. Oh my god. It's hard to like emotionally to finish something you're kind of emotionally drained by. So I will finish this season, but it will be tough. This is difficult. So, oh God, Emily and Brennan. I'm just convinced that Brennan is an alien. One of the aliens that, we found in Mexico sneaked their way up to Colorado, put themselves in Brennan's body, and is now just, like, trying to figure out how to act like a normal human. But all the traits that they got are, like, aggressive, defensive. Literally, he said, I don't have emotions. I don't even... he doesn't want to go to therapy. He's probably scared of therapy because he probably just found out about, like... Brendan is not... he's barely human to me because he's, like... It's so confusing. It's so confusing watching them. It's so confusing looking at Brendan being like, how are you a person? It really weirds me out. Okay, so they're making pizza. Emily says, I know you don't want to go to therapy, and I get it, but we do need to talk about through emotions, and we need to communicate, whatever. And it's crazy. Emily was like, you know what? I get it. Do you get it? Because I don't. I feel like we as the audience do not understand what the heck is going on here. I wish you would kind of push back on that and be like, you know what? I don't get it. You need to go to therapy. You don't even know how to identify simple feelings in even simple or complex feelings in your heart. And you need to do that for a marriage. And if you don't want to give up on this marriage like you proclaim, what are we doing here? Seriously. It's just weird. So Brendan is uncomfy with the whole exercise that they were given, which was to touch each other to get kind of physical intimacy started. Because I feel like physical intimacy and emotional intimacy can kind of go hand in hand in certain settings. So that exercise kind of felt archaic. Literally just was like, touch each other, get as naked as you can, and then just see what happens. Like, let's see if anything gets going. I get it, but I'm also kind of like, oh, it's weird. That's weird. I don't know. So Brandon's uncomfy because he's like, I like hugging. We can hug. Okay. Literally, like, is she your cousin? You want to hug her? Oh my god. It's a bare minimum thing to do. It's like a step above. It's not even a step above holding hands, cuz I would be fine with hugging a stranger. I would not, or a stranger, somebody I just met. I would not be fine with holding hands with somebody I would like. It's a step below holding hands. What are we doing, Brennan? Emily likes Brennan though. Gosh, you hate to see it. I really hate to see all of these scenes with Emily and Brennan because it's just she's trying so hard, and I talked about the fact that I'm weirded out the fact that they put somebody who's never been in a relationship in this process. What are we doing? But Emily's the one who's trying like she has been in the most relationships. Like she really knows what it takes to make it work. And Brennan is acting like he's literally never spoken to a woman like maybe that's an exaggeration. That's an exaggeration, but he's just acting weird, bro. It doesn't make sense. It weirds me out. I don't like to see him. I'm barely entertained by him. I'm just kind of bothered, you know? So the experts meet with Michael about Michael's emotional disaster, which that was that I mean, it's uncomfortable to watch, but I'm happy that they're doing something. They're creating conversation, I guess. It's just one of those conversations that's like, does this need to happen? Do we really like I feel like that were kind of like, do we need to drag this guy through something else? But the show needed it. Michael gets credit for being a gentleman about the whole thing. Men get credit for the bare minimum things. You know what, and I was thinking, like, he did really handle that well. He did. But at the same time, like, I just feel like the bar for men is so low. We're like, just saying, thank you for not flipping out on us. Thank you, even though it is valid for him to be angry at this, even though it is valid for him to be like, you guys signed me up with somebody who's supposed to like me. And then she just doesn't commit to me and she doesn't like me. What the hell? But I think it's weird that we're like, we commend men for just simply acting correct and being kind and taking into consideration things in a situation that are not favorable and not having negativity like outpours at cast. I don't know if that's like a valid critique for me to be like, we thank men for so little, but we do. That's just how I feel in my heart. You can disagree with it, but it's just how I feel. So he says, you know, this was about me. This wasn't about marriage. And they ask, of course, like, would you be open to having a marriage? And he said, you know, I would do this again. What are we talking about? What are we talking about? I would do this again? No. I'm packing this up. I'm getting my Tinder started to get Tinder. I'm getting my Bumble started again. And we're going to see if I can do this on my own because clearly, if I put my trust in y'all, something's not happening. That's what I would do. And he kind of lays out what he's looking for. He's looking for a silly, sweet, intelligent, self-invested person who could sometimes be a hard at work, but is ultimately hard at work. Who could sometimes be a hard ass at work, but is ultimately really sweet on the inside. Interesting. I don't think that's a lot to ask for. I think if you like truly are gonna get started again and go for a marriage, I think he's asking for somebody sweet because he's like, listen, I just don't want her to judge me. I don't want her to judge me. I want her to see me and be a sweetie little sweetheart who can't reject me once again. And then Pastor Cal calls Michael a king. Can my Pastor Cal call me a king? I felt those healing powers when he said that. I just want somebody to call me a king or a queen. I feel like that would heal a lot of my issues. So then we go to Claire and Cameron and they go skiing. That was a weird thing. We see that Claire kind of shows off her little silly little goofy side, and I kind of loved to see it. We see that Claire goes through Cameron's legs and is like, she's trying. And it's weird to see because I feel like if she had put that energy in at the very beginning, would we kind of have been in this place? You know what? I am a Cameron sympathizer in the way that I feel like I see Claire in the way that she's a lot more serious, she's a lot more rigid than Cameron is. And if she had just kind of been a little bit more fluid, maybe things would have worked. But then also, she wouldn't like been as authentic in who she is at the beginning if she had to change that. But also, is it changing, or is it just kind of adjusting to the person and like what you know that they need? You know, I don't know. This whole the whole like, oh, we're forcing it too much. That's an interesting conversation I want to get into later. The whole entire Claire and Cameron day was so uncomfy. I hate to see it, but I also, it's sad because you know they have to separate, but you're also like rooting for them not to. Well, I'm not rooting for them not to. I think that what they're doing is for their best interest, but it's sad to see something start and not finish. But it's also like, you can't control that at all. You can't control people's journeys and stories, and they committed to what they felt comfortable with. But it just is what it is. It is what it is. They need to break up. So then we see Becca and Austin struggling, opening up about religion. I don't even want to get into it. This triggered me because I had a roommate in college. I went to a Christian college university. I went to a Christian university, and I had a roommate that made remarks about hell and like how one of my friends was very clearly going to hell. And I just have personal feelings about this. But okay, so let me read my notes about what the heck has happened. So Austin mentioned that Becca like might go to hell, but he can still love her in the same lifetime, knowing that possibility. And that was weird to hear, that Becca kind of recounted that. That was weird, because it was like, that's a lot. I don't know. Pastor Cal states, neither of us have died, so none of us know what the heck is gonna happen for real. So then we go into a discussion about, if you don't accept Jesus, are you going to hell? There are certain people who have accepted Jesus who probably should go to hell. Everything is just so uncomfortable to watch. The way that some Christians talk about heaven and hell, to me feels like they're coming from a place of superiority. As somebody who is I really feel like I'm more at peace with my journey, my own personal journey. As somebody who is figuring out how to relate to other Christians, figuring out like where my place is with religion, like my spiritual journey, and then also my relationship with God is something I feel very comfortable mending and adding to. It's just, there are some Christians that really make me feel like discouraged by religion. And I feel like Becca feels the same exact way. But basically, this triggered me because I was kind of thinking, this is exactly why Becca didn't want to be paired with somebody who was Christian, because Christians just be doing that all the time. They just say things like, oh, well, I mean, love the sin or not the sin, even though you're going to hell, I still love you anyways. It's like the most harsh things they say in like a very subtle way that feel very like oppressive and very like I can't keep saying uncomfortable. I have to be original. They just feel very judgmental. They don't make you feel like a proper equal human. And I get where she's coming from, because but I also understand from Austin's point of view, he probably was brought up in very much like a black and white teachings, and is kind of having to sift through that in order to work with his partner. But I didn't like that conversation because I felt for that conversation because I very much relate to Becca in that sense of the feelings of like heaven and hell, and somebody telling you could go to hell or you're going to hell, but I'll love you anyway, is hard to hear. I can't even imagine my husband and I had the conversation, how I would feel. Pastor Cal low-key pops off. Pastor Cal pops off, and he's like, listen, I know you said, oh, what if he was with a Christian woman? He's not with a Christian woman. He's not, okay? So you can get that out of your little head and stop putting doubts into your head about, oh, what if he's in? No, This is what it is. This is what's up. This is what it's gonna be. And he actually did offer some valuable points. But overall, I don't know. It just was a hard conversation because religion is hard when you differ. Uh, like I said I said this in the last video, but when you have different religions, sometimes some people are fine with those differences because they both are kind of like lukewarm in their differences and are like, well, I mean, we're lukewarm, we're not very passionate, but oh well. And it like just barely affects their views of life, values, perspectives, death, and everything in between. But like when it's this, these are the conversations that are going to happen that are going to ruin a relationship. I don't, as somebody who grew up like a lot more Christian than my husband, there's some things that I even have to work through in our like differences of practicing religion, going through spiritual journeys. It's hard. It is really genuinely hard. So they end with Becca having very valid emotions and Austin doing the typical, yeah, oh wait, Becca having valid emotions, being like, when are we going to talk about religion? Like, and he's been like, well, when do we have the time? And that's just such the typical, I feel like, female and male hetero dynamic of just, can you please do this thing and make time for this thing that I bring up? And they're like, well, I just don't have the time. We don't have time. And then she's like, I just want it to be a priority. That felt very relatable because I feel like women know that when men have just straight up priorities for things that are important, they just find the time. They make the time. When they don't, they don't. They just let it go. Not to say that Becca or whatever isn't to blame into making time. Not blame. Becca isn't a contributor into not making time, but I just feel like it's a very typical dynamic of conversation in male and female relationships. Claire and Lauren and Cameron and Orion all talk. And these couples make me tired. They make me tired. I don't want to see them anymore. Yeah, ever since Cameron said that, well, ever since when we're in this little scene, everybody's talking about their failed relationships. We get it. We just get it. We just get, how many times can we say we're just not connecting? We have put in the time isn't working. I like her as a person, but I just am not clicking. How many times can we say that? And then Cameron solidified everything and said, I had feelings for her. So then I was like, okay, cool, you can get off my screen then. You can. Claire doesn't want to quit and is kind of, I don't want to say forcing it, but you know, like, if you really feel it and you really feel like there's potential, what is the difference between forcing and then simply just seeing potential and really like getting into the potential of that relationship and what it could hold for you? You know, I find that a lot of people who critique the marriage or the divorce rate these days come from a place of, oh, people just are not trying hard enough. People are not trying. When it's like, okay, some of y'all's marriages from years and years ago were probably like very forced because it was very socially expected for people to just link up and get married, when a lot of the time, not a lot of the time, but maybe a percentage of the time, a lot of people should not have been married. Like, and I find that like people have the freedom now and the individuality to just simply identify what they want to deal with and what they don't want to deal with. And I'm fine with, and I feel like everybody should be fine with, if an individual simply like push themselves to their limit and found that their limit is their limit. Why are we saying like, oh, that's such a shame? They tried it. They really tried it. At a certain point, once you push your limit, you're forcing it. I feel like that's kind of the line. It's just like once you just feel emotionally and we find out kind of physically exhausted, you're just out the way that Cameron is out. I am in love with the video that they shared though of Becca and Austin. That was so sweet. That was so cute. I love that they're doing videos. They used to do photos, right? Of the 1 month anniversary and give them a couple things. But the video really puts it in perspective, like, oh my god, this was our physical dynamic. That was really cool. Emily and Brendan have theirs. Every single scene is just a tough watch. But I do love the Austin and Becca skating and marshmallow dynamic. I want to go on that date. Oh my god. That's all I have to say about that. I thought I was gonna have more. I don't have to say. At dinner, Brennan calls Emily a red flag, which, if you didn't watch, one of the after parties said that Emily was a red flag because one of the after parties, Brennan said that Emily was a red flag simply because she was more of a party girl and he wasn't. That's what he admitted in the after party, and has not yet admitted to himself, I don't think, at this point, or to Emily or anyone, which is not helpful at all. The marriage is in flames. Cameron finally officially breaks up in public with Claire. I mean, like, they were already separated before, but they kind of told everybody at this anniversary dinner. By the way, oh, wait. Sorry, I wrote this ahead. I think I said Cameron officially breaks up because he sent her that text before the anniversary dinner. Sorry. Austin consoles a friend and has a valuable conversation with them. I loved that conversation because it was from somebody he really trusted. He was looking for just another perspective, and he got another perspective. He's really seeking out kind of different avenues. I'm assuming he'll look into more avenues as well. But I like that he's simply just having conversations and wanting to be like, and then also the fact that the friend that he was on the phone with, advocated for her as well. There are so many people who are Christian that would just be like, nope, black and white, and not talk through things. The superiority overshadows the ability to just simply connect to get through things. Michael meets up with his friends, and I think he's gonna be like, we found a match. He kind of is talking to them about that, and then kind of just to see how they feel about it. They're very skeptical. You can just tell from the air of that scene that, like, they're skeptical. They don't want him to do this again. It's weird. And then Dr. Pepper. Oh, weird. Dr. Pepper shows up. Oh my god. I felt so uncomfortable for her. Everything makes me uncomfortable in this season and episode. God, this is probably the worst. Can I say that? There have been, like, some standout people that have been absolute garbage. Y'all remember Chris? Chris and Paige? That was exceptionally horrible. This, though, is, like, weird because all of the couples are breaking down. But it's, like, typically one or two standout horrible people, but it's, like, all of these situations are, like, exceptionally tough to watch. Dr. Pepper comes in, basically is like, we found you a match, and I'm happy that they ended up on a happy note, because it started off very much like, so what is going to change about this process, because our friend just got his heart broken and said he felt like the biggest failure of his life was in that time that was constructed by you, so don't hurt my friend. And then she was like, we found a match, and they're like, oh my god, you better not hurt my friend. Weird. Like, I'm rooting for Michael at the end of the day. I hope that he gets everything that he wants. I hope, because we saw a preview into the next episode, and we do see that something's gonna happen with a new girl. Although I will say, I expected kind of like more of like a fairy type of a woman, as opposed to the woman that they have, which is very much like a realistically built person. Okay, so then there's the month anniversary dinner. That, I keep saying uncomfortable. It's just weird. All the couples are just awkwardly debriefing. And you're like, why are we debriefing? Everybody knows what's going on. Why are Claire and Cameron taking so incredibly long just to finish, just to let everybody know that they broke up? They're separated. Claire and Cameron takes so long. They drag it out. But they did end it really maturely, I'll say. I felt like it was the most graceful ending to a marriage we've ever seen. And they should get kudos for that. Although it was kind of graceful at the end, it just is sad. it was kind of sad. I felt bad for Claire when she started crying. Claire, I think, really liked him, but didn't know how to show it in the way that he needed. Brennan opens up about the obvious. It's like, I just don't know how to feel. I'm trying my hardest. Brennan, stop. He needs therapy for real, for real. Of all the people that need therapy, he is the one. And it's weird. Anyway, that is all I have for Married at First Sight season 17, episode 11 or 12 or whatever. If you liked this video, please let me know in any way, shape, or form, or give me a comment or something. But whoever you are, whatever you're doing, whatever time of day it is, I hope you have a good morning, afternoon, or night.